All right, time for the Sunday night football preview, though. We've got Colts versus Vikings. The Vikings are looking to end their 2-game losing streak, and they're hosting the Colts, who are sitting exactly at 500. And the talk, I feel like, of the NFL as of right now is the Colts benching Anthony Richardson for Joe Flacco. And this comes at a very interesting time, especially after last week when Anthony Richardson was tapped out. Yeah, tapped out of that game against the Texans on Sunday because he was too tired. It also comes in the midst of Anthony Richardson's season, in which he has a 44.8 completion percentage, which is the lowest in the NFL by far.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting situation. What do you think about that decision?
So here's the thing. I covered Anthony Richardson when he was playing at the University of Florida. I saw him close up. I think he's a very talented kid, but the rhetoric around him when he was coming out of college, getting that number 4 draft pick, was that he is a raw talent. He's going to be inexperienced, but he can develop into a very quality player. Is 39-year-old Joe Flacco the future of this franchise? No, I don't think anyone on that team would even say that themselves. I think they should still stand by Richardson. But personally, I think that to get better, you need to get reps.
Yeah.
And I would say that basically about Drake May as well, if I was taking out any sort of health concerns or concussion protocols, that in order to get better, you need to be out on the field and doing the thing. So for Anthony Richardson to have been tired, that might have been, a bit of a fluke. It seems like a lot of his teammates are really rallying behind him, saying it seems like it was a mince of words that he kind of went with there. And they're saying, no, he's good. We back him as our quarterback. But, Joe Flacco coming off of comeback player of the year last year when he was playing with the Browns for a little bit, and now he is here to save the day in Indy. I don't know if the 39-year-old kind of prolonged backup is what they'll be looking for their future.
Joe Flacco seems to age like a fine wine. He gets better, which is shocking. Anyways, but with Anthony Richardson, I think it's a situation. I mean, he's, first of all, when it comes to the comments, and I think it's actually related on both ends of it, it's really just about his age. When it comes to the comments, I think when you're that young, you don't realize, or sometimes it takes a moment like that to really realize all of the attention that's on you as a starting quarterback in the NFL. And like messing up a word like that can be a firestorm, like a social media, just a media in general firestorm. So I think that's potentially part of that. But on the other side of it too, I think it's just specifically like time on the field. Like you need to get those reps. And now that Joe Flacco's been named starter, he's not going to get those in practice either. And I think this is really a situation when the Colts drafted him, where you knew what you were getting. Like you drafted him because he's a great athletic quarterback, but you knew that there were going to be these growing pains. And it's not like he's essentially a rookie QB. Like he barely played last season. But I also think that's part of it. It's like, okay, we're sitting him to give him more time to learn. It's like, well, he already sat last season, basically. So it's not like he necessarily needs to sit again. I really do think that he needs to get into the system, and that the Colts need to figure out what they have in him. And you're hearing a lot of people compare him to Josh Allen and what Bills fans had to endure for the first couple of Josh Allen seasons. And obviously look how that turned out. So I think you really need to just like buy into the process a little bit, because I don't think it makes sense to really start Joe Flacco, like we said, because Joe Flacco's not going to be your solution long term. But I think the problem here really for the Colts is that they're a prisoner of their own record. They're at 500 right now, and they're like, we have a chance to potentially do something this season, and we don't feel like Anthony Richardson gives us the best chance to win. So that's why they want to go with Joe Flacco.
They're like, maybe
we can put something together here. But I think if their record was anything different, I think they would be sticking with Anthony Richardson and really kind of, seeing how this works out for him. But it's really interesting in this matchup too with the Vikings when you see the comparison to Sam Darnold, because obviously Sam Darnold started his career with the Jets and was thrust into that system before he was ready on a bad Jets team, and now you're seeing him down the line really being able to resurrect his career. So maybe that's the track that Anthony Richardson takes. I feel like I've been seeing it more and more in the league recently.
But also seeing this Vikings team as one who, maybe we thought of them as one of the tops in the NFL at the beginning, and we still might, but we're seeing them kind of regress with 2 straight losses. So this could have been an opportunity that Richardson could have cemented himself as a true baller for this team, honestly, because, this Vikings team is good. They've got weapons. They've got Justin Jefferson, of course, who's one of the best receivers in the NFL, and he's doing a lot of work, and him and Darnold seem to be connecting really well. That could have been a great opportunity for Sunday Night Football showdown and Richardson to really show up his stuff, but it looks like it'll be Flacco.
Yeah, well, especially when you think about the way that the Vikings defense has been playing the past couple of weeks. I mean, they had one of the best defenses in the NFL through the first, 7 weeks of the season, and then just completely 180'd recently. And yeah, that's not good. They've been really, that was Brian Flores and the Vikings defense. That was one of the huge pieces of their team. I know a lot of people have been talking a lot about, how great Sam Darnold has been and the story of him. But the defense has been incredible. But the fact that it's been bad the last 2 weeks, it's maybe Anthony Richardson really could have capitalized on that. I think just to shed some light too on the Vikings offense before we move on here, when you're bringing up Justin Jefferson, I think they really need to get Jordan Addison going a little bit, who's their wide receiver too. I know there have been some off-field antics with him, but I think right now Sam Darnold is just looking a little bit too much to Jefferson, and I feel like they need to try to distribute the ball just a little bit more downfield. So that's my one real takeaway when it comes to the Vikings offense. But yeah, the Richardson conversation, it's an interesting one. And every season we have this discussion, should you start a rookie QB? Should you bench them? Richardson's not really a rookie, but he kind of is. He's kind of one, he really is a rookie, especially when you consider his age. But yeah, interesting situation.
Yeah, and I think one last thing I want to point out about this one. Last time they played, it was a fun one. I don't know if you remember, it was 2022. The Colts up 33-0 at halftime, and the Vikings came storming back, forcing overtime, and ending up winning on a field goal. So if it's going to be anything like that one, hopefully we can be in store for a good Sunday Night Football game coming up this weekend.
So everyone's been talking about that 2022 matchup. So either the Vikings are going to look to go 6-2, or the Colts are going to end up above 500. It's going to be interesting.